My dad wanted a girl. I never wondered if he was disappointed that he didn't get a son. I'm an only child, and the daughter he wanted, or if that isn't true, he has been consistent and convincing in the lie, which is possible because my dad is an actor. Trained formerly with a master's in fine arts, skilled at everything from voice to set design. He worked as a director too sometimes, got a play that he directed in a small theater in New York, moved to Lincoln Center's Mitzi Newhouse Theater. That's the play that convinced us to move from Los Angeles to New York, where at the end of his career, my father was dean of the two-year School for Film and Television, which he helped create the core curriculum for and get acclaim and accreditation for, too. So my dad could have lied for 57 years, convincingly, about wanting a daughter. But I don't think he did. And he raised me as a particular kind of daughter, and I've been thinking about that a lot these last couple of years. My dad he still is alive, is adoring and physically affectionate and emotionally open and vulnerable and willing to apologize and tender. He is also tough, resilient, courageous. He worked in the oil fields in the summers and on vacations from the time he was 16 as what was called, and I suppose still is called, a roughneck. Hard work, out in the open, throwing chains and racking drill pipe, dangerous work and back-breaking work, and he did it. He is one of those people who has never worried that he couldn't make a living, and that does give you a kind of confidence. My dad's family moved around a lot and constantly, maybe more than they needed to, as my grandfather followed his work in the drilling business. It meant needing to make a go of new places and new people, navigate new schools constantly, something my father did not enjoy at all and regrets, but he did it. It gave him some resilience and a strong dose of self-reliance. It also, I think, meant he grounded himself in places that wouldn't go away. The world of books and movies, stories of other places, the adventures he would be able to navigate that were in the future, that were better than what this or that small town was offering in the moment. And though, like anyone, I'm sure he was sensitive to the opinions of others, I think he learned not to be dependent on them. It would have destroyed anyone, always the new kid, to be too sensitive or dependent on the opinion of others, since the stranger always gets scrutiny and a level of distrust. And my dad chose an unusual path for his life and his community. He went to college, he studied theater in Texas. When he read everything, handing in Plato's Symposium once as a teenager to an unbelieving librarian who, when she challenged him, he summarized for her the plot, which even I could not do. Pop was willing to forge his own way outside of the world he knew. Married a recent immigrant from the Netherlands, loved the perspective and life experiences she brought to their life, as well as so much else about her. And all of that and more was passed on to his daughter. Passing it on to a son would be less astounding, I think, more expected. Of course, you want your son to be strong and self-reliant and resilient and courageous and free-thinking. We don't always want our daughters to be all that. And I wasn't the daughter who was the booby prize for the son he wanted and so got this treatment because he was pretending I was a son. My dad wanted a daughter, and he wanted her to be strong and wise and capable and fearless. That's no small thing. He could be and was tender, like I said, but he also demanded all the rest, and he gave permission for all the rest. Vanessa, here's how you throw a tight spiral. Play hard defense. Speak your truth, stand up to the bullies. Do well in school. Argue fiercely your position. Don't be afraid, well, except when your life is in danger. Be smart on the streets, and he'd show me how. But don't be afraid of things that don't deserve fear, like social judgment. Be bold. Defend the weak. Say what is your truth, even if it's not popular. He never said to me, be nice, except with a smile and a wink. Hey kid, be nice. And when I left home for a night out, he always said, don't do anything stupid. A tender love showing up protectively. I was allowed to be loving, passionate, strong, tough, tender, courageous, kind, all of it. And I've been aware of this particular gift, the gift of this legacy lately, the courage part in particular. The who gives a damn part. I've always been surprised when people shrank away from silly things, confounded by it. The girl in 6th grade who wouldn't stand up to the mean girls. The people who stand frozen on the train or bus or street when someone is in trouble or being threatened. Folks who won't say to someone they know, hey, you know that thing you did or said, it wasn't cool, it didn't land right. I mean, seriously, is all that so scary and so hard? But then there are those places, or I should say, but then those are the places where we practice. And the failure of building up this muscle, it's so much bigger, isn't it? Legislators and judges who know what's happening is not right but won't stick their heads up to say so, it's the same thing. The billionaires and the universities and the partners at white shoe law firms, all of them with money and power who try to stay safe, that pathetic vision of safety, not of shared power or of commitment to shared greatness, to human solidarity in a world that is bound together with visions of justice and compassion and mutuality and interdependence, but who instead cower and placate and tie a leash around their own privileged necks and hand the end of it to the devil, to all that is evil. And it says in the gospel, according to Matthew chapter 16, verse 26, for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? But to not forfeit our souls, it requires courage. It requires this well-honed, deep well of self-reliance, of confidence in our own judgment, of trust in our resilience, and the courage to speak our truths. to hold the world accountable, and if necessary, walk alone, take the blows, but to be in the arena of life, wild and alive, not a spectator, gutsy and demanding, a gladiator for the good, if it's possible to use that metaphor, if gladiators can be good. And my mother, she gave me some of that for sure. She's an incredible woman of strength and wisdom and compassion. But I'm realizing there is something special about a father giving his daughter permission and expecting her to be all that too. So thanks, Papa. Thanks, Richard Southern, hard-won lessons you learned, given me to live. May we all live them. May we all live them. May we all live them. Amen.